My friend, listen to me with the ears of your spirit open wide, because what I'm about to say is not ordinary talk. It is a prophetic word. It is a divine announcement from the throne of heaven. God is about to change your story. You may have cried through the night, wondering when things would turn. You may have felt forgotten, rejected, or buried by life's disappointments. But I tell you today, the same God who lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace is still alive, and He is about to lift you too. You are standing at the edge of a turning point. Heaven has declared your season of delay is ending. The story that once brought you shame is about to become the very testimony that will bring you honor. There are moments in life when it feels like all doors are closed, when every effort produces nothing, when you wake up each day wondering why you even try anymore. But do you not know that sometimes God allows the night to get darker so that His light may shine brighter? You may have been praying, fasting, and waiting, and nothing seems to move. But what you don't see is that God has been working behind the scenes. God has been rearranging the details, positioning people, and aligning circumstances so that when He moves, no man can take the glory. God is not slow. God is strategic. And when He decides to change your story, it happens suddenly. There are divine moments when God intervenes and turns everything upside down, not to destroy you, but to set the stage for something you could never have imagined. You see, when God is about to change your story, He first shakes the foundation. He removes things and people that cannot go where you are going. That's why sometimes before the change, there is chaos. Before the elevation, there is separation. Before the breakthrough, there is breaking. But those who endure the breaking are the ones who will taste the blessing. If you are being shaken, it's not a punishment, it's preparation. God shakes what can be shaken so that what cannot be shaken may remain. Do not despise the season of isolation. Do not curse the days of smallness. Do not look down on the hidden years when no one knows your name. Because these are the years where God rewrites your destiny in silence. These are the seasons when God molds you into the vessel that can carry the greatness He is about to release. When the world sees you later, they'll say it happened suddenly. But you and God will know it didn't happen suddenly. It happened secretly. He was working on you while you were waiting. Many times, God allows you to walk through the valley, not because He has forgotten you, but because He wants to reveal Himself to you in a way you've never known before. Anyone can praise God on the mountaintop, but only the chosen can still trust Him in the valley. When your back is against the wall, when you've exhausted all your strength, that's when God steps in. That's when the impossible becomes possible. That's when stories change. You may feel stuck right now, but God is not done with you. Your pain is not permanent. Your story is not finished. You are in the middle of a divine plot twist. God is about to rewrite your destiny with His own hand. The power of God is not limited by your past. God is not intimidated by your mistakes. He is not restricted by your failures. When He decides to change your story, He will do it in such a way that even your enemies will be silenced. The same mouth that spoke against you will witness your rising. The same people who turn their backs on you will hear the sound of your victory. God is a master at using the rejected stone to become the cornerstone. He uses the broken to display His glory. He used the weak to shame the strong. That is why your story is not over, because God is still the author. And when God writes, He does not make errors. Do you know why God sometimes lets your life go through long seasons of delay? Because when He finally releases your blessing, no man will be able to claim that they helped you. He will make it clear that it was Him and Him alone. You will know it wasn't by connection, it wasn't by luck, it wasn't by your talent, it was by divine intervention. God is not in the business of small changes. When He changes a story, He does it completely. He doesn't fix a few chapters. He rewrites the whole book. The very things that once caused you to cry will one day cause you to rejoice. There are some of you listening right now, your heart is weary. You've said to yourself, I prayed enough, I've waited enough, I've tried enough. But hear me, the moment you are about to give up is often the moment right before your breakthrough. God tests your faith, not to break it, but to strengthen it. You are not being denied, you are being refined. Every disappointment you faced was not rejection, it was redirection. God was steering you away from what would have destroyed you. He was protecting you while you thought He was punishing you. When God is about to change your story, He will allow situations that force you to trust Him completely. He will take you to the edge where human help cannot reach, so that you can learn that His arm is not too short to save. Sometimes God hides your miracle inside a mess. He hides your promotion inside the problem. He hides your breakthrough inside the battle. That's why people who give up too soon miss what God was trying to reveal. You must learn to stay faithful in the fire, because the fire is where your future is forged. You see, God's timing is not our timing. You may think He's late, but He's never late. He's always on schedule. What you call delay, He calls design. The very waiting that frustrates you is building the strength you'll need to carry the blessing. Because it's one thing to receive a miracle, it's another thing to sustain it. God doesn't just want to change your story temporarily. He wants to change it permanently. And for that, He must first change you. That's why He allows pressure, isolation, and testing, not to destroy you, but to prepare you for the weight of what's coming. There is a divine pattern in the lives of those God raises. First, He hides them. Then, He humbles them. Then, He honors them. Look at your life. Perhaps you are in the hiding stage, or maybe the humbling stage. But don't lose heart, because the honoring stage is coming. God does not start something He will not finish. He does not call a person only to abandon them halfway. Every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered, every seed of faith you've sown, it has been recorded in heaven. And now the time has come for a divine reversal. When God changes your story, He does it in such a way that everyone will know this could not have happened by human strength. You'll move from renting to owning, from borrowing to lending, from surviving to thriving. You'll wake up one day and realize that what once seemed impossible has become your new normal. The same place where you were mocked will become the place where you are celebrated. The same people who said, it's over for you, will witness your comeback. God is rewriting your narrative, and no one can edit His script, but you must believe. You must keep your faith alive, because faith is the bridge between your present and your promise. If you let doubt dominate your heart, you will forfeit what's already on its way. Doubt delays destiny. Fear blocks miracles. But when you dare to believe, even when nothing makes sense, heaven moves on your behalf. God responds to faith, not feelings, not fear, faith. It is faith that turns trials into testimonies. It is faith that unlocks divine favor. It is faith that activates the change God has already planned for you. You may not see it now, but something is shifting. Doors that were closed are about to open. People who ignored you are about to remember you. Opportunities that passed you by are coming back around, but this time you'll be ready. The pain you've endured is the proof that your story is not finished. When you have suffered long enough, when your faith has been tested long enough, God says, now is time. And when God says it's time, no force on earth or in hell can stop it. I want you to lift your eyes beyond your circumstances. Stop looking at what is missing. Stop focusing on what went wrong. Start declaring what God has promised. Speak life into your situation. Speak hope into your future. Speak faith into your atmosphere. Because your words have a power. The story you tell yourself determines the story you live. If you keep saying, nothing ever changes for me, you'll remain in that cycle. But if you start saying, God is about to change my story, you invite heaven to intervene, you are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are chosen for transformation. Everything you have gone through has been a setup for what is coming next. The valley was necessary for you to appreciate the mountain. The storm was necessary for you to recognize peace. The tears were necessary for you to value joy. When God restores, He multiplies. When He heals, He completes. When He promotes, He elevates beyond imagination. God is not about to make a small adjustment. He is about to make a complete turnaround. The winds are changing. The heavens are shifting. The delay is ending. You've waited. You've trusted. You've endured. Now is your time. God is about to write a new chapter in your life. One that will erase the pain of the past. One that will silence your enemies. One that will make you stand in awe of His power. Keep your heart ready. Keep your spirit open. Because when the divine moment arrives, it will come suddenly. God is about to change your story. And when He does, nothing will ever be the same again. When God decides to change your story, He does not consult your past. He does not ask for the opinions of those who doubted you. He does not seek the approval of those who left you behind. God acts according to His own will, in His own time, and for His own glory. You may have been written off by people, but you are still written into God's plan. Others may see you as finished, but God sees you as in progress. They see failure, but He sees formation. They see the ashes, but He sees the beauty that is about to rise from them. When the author of all things begins to rewrite your destiny, even your scars become sacred. Every tear becomes a seed for joy. Every disappointment becomes the soil for your next breakthrough. Do not be deceived by what your eyes see. God is often silent right before He moves. You might be walking through days where nothing seems to make sense, but silence is not absence. When God appears quiet, He is preparing something greater than your expectation. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not happening. The seed grows beneath the soil long before it appears on the surface. Likewise, your story is shifting beneath the surface of what you can see. Divine rearrangements are happening beyond your understanding. God is planting people, positioning opportunities, and orchestrating events that will align perfectly with your appointed time. You may think nothing is happening, but heaven is moving on your behalf. Every time you've been overlooked, it was not because you were unworthy. It was because God was reserving you for the right moment. Every rejection was protection. Every delay was direction. Sometimes God hides your potential until the time of unveiling. He allows you to walk unnoticed until He has refined your spirit enough to handle recognition without pride. For the story He is writing in your life will not be an ordinary one. It will be one that glorifies Him alone. And for that, He must prepare your character to sustain the weight of greatness. Because what destroys many is not failure, but premature success. You see, when God is about to change your story, He begins by changing your vision. He shifts your focus from what is seen to what is unseen. He calls you to believe in promises that seem impossible. He teaches you to stand firm when everything around you says, give up. Your transformation always begins internally before it manifests externally. You cannot receive a new story while holding on to the old mindset. You must release the language of defeat. Stop saying, maybe it's not for me. Stop saying, I will never rise. Begin to declare, God is rewriting my life for His glory. I am becoming who He designed me to be. The tongue is the pen that writes your destiny. Use it wisely. There are moments when you will not understand why certain things had to happen, why people you trusted walked away, why doors you prayed for stayed shut, why life seemed unfair. But one day, when you stand in the place God has prepared for you, you will realize that everything was necessary. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the loss, all of it was a bridge, not a barrier. God allowed those things not to break you, but to awaken you. He was removing distractions, exposing deception, and guiding you toward a higher purpose. You may not see it yet, but there is purpose in the pain. There is a meaning in the waiting. There is a destiny in the disappointment. When your story changes, it will happen in a way that will silence every doubt. God will not only restore what you lost, He will multiply it. He will not only vindicate you, He will elevate you. He will not only heal your wounds, He will make them testimonies. The same area of your life where you were once broken will become the area where you shine the brightest. This is how God works. He takes the very thing meant to destroy you and transforms it into the very thing that defines you. But understand this, before the change comes, God will test your obedience. He will test your faith in the waiting season. He will see whether you can still worship Him when nothing seems to work, whether you can still trust Him when your plans fall apart, whether you can still thank Him when He takes something away. The story God is writing for you requires surrender, complete surrender. Because when you finally let go of control, God takes over completely. And when He takes over, everything changes. The change that is coming will not be subtle. It will be divine and undeniable. Those who thought they knew you will struggle to recognize you. They will ask, what happened to you? And you will answer, God changed my story. He will take you from overlooked to overblessed, from burden to favored, from forgotten to chosen. You will become a living testimony of what happens when God steps into a life that refuses to give up. Do not let your current struggle convince you that your story has ended. The pit is not permanent. The wilderness is not forever. The silence is not punishment. God is using it to strengthen your spirit and sharpen your discernment. For where you are going, you will need a deeper understanding, a stronger faith, and a heart that cannot be shaken by fear. When you come out of this season, you will be wiser, stronger, and unrecognizably transformed. Some of you are standing on the threshold of your miracle, but fear is holding you back. You are afraid to hope again because you've been disappointed before. You are afraid to dream again because your last dream died. But let me tell you, God is not bound by your past experiences. Just because something didn't work out before does not mean it never will. God can breathe life into what you thought was finished. He can resurrect the dream, restore the opportunity, and renew your strength. The ending you feared is about to become the beginning of something greater. There are divine moments when everything shifts, not gradually, but instantly. God speaks, and everything aligns. One word from Him can open doors that were locked for years. One encounter with His presence can undo a lifetime of pain. One divine moment can erase decades of struggle. That's how powerful God is. And that is what's about to happen to you. You may not know the exact day or hour, but it will come. And when it comes, you will understand why you had to go through everything you did. Keep your heart sensitive. Keep your faith alive. Because change begins in the unseen before it appears in the visible. It begins in your spirit, in your faith, in your declaration. The person who believes that God is about to change their story will start preparing for it. Faith is not just words, it's action. When you truly believe God is about to move, you start aligning your life with that belief. You let go of negativity. You forgive those who wronged you. You make peace with your past. You start walking like someone who knows something divine is about to unfold. The reason many people miss their transformation is because they keep looking for signs instead of staying faithful. But the truth is, your faithfulness is the sign. Your endurance is the evidence that God is still working. Don't wait to feel it, believe it. Don't wait to see it, act like it's already done. Because faith attracts fulfillment. And the moment you start believing fully, heaven begins to move rapidly. You may have been in the same place for years, same cycle, same struggle, same pain. But when God says, enough, everything shifts. The same life that felt stuck will suddenly move with divine speed. What once took years will happen in months. What once seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly. The favor of God will go before you, opening doors you never knocked on, connecting you with the people you never knew, and bringing answers you never expected. That's what happens when your time has come. And your time has come. You have carried the burden long enough. You have fought battles that no one knew about. You have cried in silence while still showing strength in public. But God saw it all. Not one tear went unnoticed. Not one prayer went unheard. Not one act of faith went unseen. And now heaven has issued a decree. Change the story. That decree is about to manifest in your life. When God changes your story, the transformation is not only outward but inward. He gives you peace that surpasses understanding, joy that doesn't depend on circumstances, and strength that no challenge can take away. You will no longer live reacting to life. You will live directing it through divine wisdom. You will move with authority because you will know that your steps are guided by the hand of the Almighty. Prepare yourself because when God moves, He moves suddenly. Your story is about to shift so drastically that people will say, this can only be God. And you will know that every delay, every heartbreak, every dark night was worth it because it led you to this divine moment of transformation. God is about to change your story. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, in this season, in this hour, in this divine moment of alignment, when God begins to rewrite the story of a life, He does not start where others would begin. People may start from what is seen, but God starts from what is hidden. He begins deep inside the soul, where no human hand can reach. He touches the unseen roots that determine the visible fruit. That is why before God changes your situation, He changes your spirit. Before He promotes you in public, He purifies you in private. He removes the bitterness, the fear, the pride, and the doubt that once kept you bound. For how can a new story grow from an old heart? God renews the heart so that the blessing will not destroy the one who receives it. You have prayed for change on the outside, but God has been working on the inside. Because inner change is the foundation of lasting transformation. Many people cry for a new beginning, yet they still hold on to old habits, old words, old ways of thinking. But when God is about to change your story, He requires surrender. Surrender is not weakness, it is the highest form of wisdom. It is when you say, God, not my will, but yours alone. When you stop fighting for control and start trusting His direction, you invite heaven to intervene. God cannot feel a hand that refuses to let go of the past. The moment you release your grip on what has been, He will place into your hands what is meant to be. Your story is waiting for your surrender. There are times when life will press you until you feel you cannot breathe. The storms may roar, the darkness may deepen, and the path ahead may disappear beneath your feet. Yet even then, God is present. His silence is not distance. It is strategy. He hides Himself in stillness to see if your faith will stand without proof. Because faith that only survives when everything is visible is not faith at all. It is sight. True faith holds steady when the evidence disappears. It is in that kind of faith that stories change. When you say, even if I do not see the way, I will still trust. Heaven opens its gate. The greatest miracles always follow unwavering faith. Do not envy those who seem to rise faster than you. What God is building in you takes time because it must last. Temporary success is easy, but divine establishment requires depth. God is laying foundation so strong that no storm will ever shake you again. While others rush ahead, God is ensuring that your story will not collapse under pressure. You are not behind, you are being built. You are not delayed, you are being designed for endurance. The preparation may feel like a punishment, but it is protection. God is preparing you for a destiny that will outlive the applause of men. There is a rhythm in the way God works. Before He gives increase, He allows decrease. Before He reveals abundance, He allows lack. This is not cruelty, it is cultivation. When you have walked through scarcity, you will handle abundance with humility. When you have tasted rejection, you will carry authority with compassion. God does not waste pain. He transforms it into power. Every struggle becomes a teacher. Every loss, a lesson. Every delay, a refining fire. You are being shaped for significance. The fire you are in now will not destroy you. It will define you. And when your season of preparation is complete, when God sees that your heart is ready and your spirit is anchored, He releases change with the speed that no man can stop. Divine timing is mysterious. It seems slow, then suddenly it happens all at once. One moment you are invisible, the next you are indispensable. One moment the door is closed, the next it swings wide open. That is the nature of God's movement. Slow in forming, sudden in fulfillment. So never mistake waiting for wasting. God is never late. He is always perfect in His timing. When your story begins to shift, The people around you will be astonished. They will ask, how did this happen? They will not understand that while they were sleeping, heaven was writing your elevation. God does not make announcements when He prepares His chosen ones. He hides His greatest works until the appointed hour. That is why you must not despise the hidden years. They are sacred. Those are the years when God whispers secrets to your soul, when He teaches you to hear His voice and not the noise of the world. Because when the story changes, you will need to discern His direction among many distractions. Be careful not to let bitterness follow you into your new chapter. Some people try to carry the pain of the past into the promise of the future. But when God gives you a new story, He also gives you a command: forgive. Forgive so that your heart will be free. Forgive so that your spirit will not be poisoned by the past. Forgive so that you can move with peace and purity into what is next. Holding on to resentment is like chaining yourself to the very season you pray to leave. God wants you unchained. He wants you light enough to soar. When God changes your story, He does not simply lift you. He elevates your vision. You begin to see life differently. You no longer chase validation from people. You seek only alignment with His purpose. You stop striving for applause and start striving for peace. You stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them by walking in divine order. That is what happens when transformation becomes revelation. You begin to understand that God's favor is not a feeling, it is a function. You exist now to reflect His power, not to prove your worth. And listen carefully, your story is not changing only for you. God changes your life so that others may believe. Your breakthrough will become the light that guides us still in darkness. Your healing will become hope for those still broken. Your victory will become a sign that God is still faithful. Every person who witnessed your transformation will be reminded that nothing is impossible when the Creator intervenes. You are not just being lifted, you are being assigned. Your new story carries a purpose bigger than your comfort. It carries a message of divine faithfulness. There will come a moment when you will look back and realize why God made you wait so long. You will see how every closed door protected you from something that was not yours. You will see how every unanswered prayer was a redirection toward something greater. You will see how every loss became a bridge toward maturity. When that moment comes, gratitude will flood your heart. You will no longer ask, why me? You will whisper, now I understand. That is the beauty of divine timing. It reveals wisdom after the waiting. If you are in the middle of your pain right now, hold on. Do not let despair convince you that God has forgotten. The silence you feel is not abandonment. It is the pause before the unveiling. The darker the night, the closer the dawn. The deeper the sorrow, the greater the joy that is coming. What you feel as your ending is actually a turning. Every great story begins with a point of breaking, and then the breakthrough comes. That's where you are on the edge of your breakthrough. Lift your head and strengthen your heart. The same God who brought light out of darkness will bring clarity out of confusion. The same God who shaped galaxies out of chaos can shape purpose out of your pain. Nothing is wasted in His plan, not the tears, not the waiting, not the silence. He weaves it all together into a masterpiece that only makes sense when viewed from the mountaintop. You may be standing in the valley now, but you will not stay there. The author of your story is not finished writing. When the change manifests, do not forget who made it possible. Do not take credit for what only God could do. Remember the nights you prayed, the times you nearly gave up, the moments you felt alone. Let humility anchor you in gratitude. For nothing destroys a new story faster than pride. Humility is the seal of divine favor. The more you honor God in your success, the more He will enlarge your territory. The story He writes through you is meant to glorify Him, not you. And let me tell you this, once God changes your story, it will stay changed. No power, no opposition, no curse can reverse it. When He declares, it is done, it is sealed, you will rise and you will remain. You will shine and no darkness will extinguish your light. You will walk through doors that no one can shut because they were opened by divine hands. You will stand in places you once only dreamed of, and you will know that it was not luck, it was destiny. So keep your faith alive. No matter what you face, speak with conviction, walk with confidence, believe with boldness, because every breath you take is a sign that your purpose is not finished. You are not forgotten, you are favored, you are not abandoned, you are being advanced. The script of your life is being edited by the hand of the Almighty, and when His pen moves, miracles follow. The chapter ahead will carry laughter where there were tears, peace where there was chaos, fulfillment where there was emptiness. You will rise with strength that surprises even you. You will look around and realize that the waiting was worth it. Because when God changes your story, He changes everything. The night gives way to morning. The sorrow gives way to joy. The test gives way to testimony. The season of pain gives way to a life of divine purpose. So stand firm, trust deeply, expect greatly. Because the same God who spoke light into existence is speaking transformation into your life right now. Every force that stood against you is losing its grip. Every delay is being turned into acceleration. Every weakness is being turned into strength. You are not who you used to be. You are who God is shaping you to become. Your new story has already begun, and soon the world will see what heaven already knows. God has changed your story forever. Listen to me carefully, because this message is not for every woman. This is for the woman who has cried in secret, who has walked through fire, who has been broken by betrayal, and yet still whispers in the dark, God, I trust you. This is for the woman who has reached the point where her tears have become her prayers. The woman who has seen doors close, people walk away, opportunities vanish, and still refuses to bow before the world. She stands, she waits, she trusts, because she knows a woman of God doesn't beg. She trusts God. When a woman belongs to God, there is a certain dignity upon her spirit. She may be wounded, but she does not collapse. She may be tested, but she does not compromise. She may lose everything the world promised her, but she does not lose her confidence in the one who holds everything in His hands. A woman of God knows that what is meant for her cannot be taken away. She knows that if God has written her destiny, no man, no circumstance, and no failure can erase it. So, when the world expects her to plead, to chase, to beg, she instead falls to her knees and speaks to God, not to people. She knows her help does not come from man. It comes from above. You see, begging comes from fear, but trusting comes from faith. When you beg, you are saying, I need someone to give me what I cannot live without. But when you trust God, you are saying, even if I lose it all, I will still be complete because I have God. That is the posture of a woman of faith. She does not live desperate for attention, desperate for validation, desperate for acceptance. Her soul is anchored in something far greater than human approval. Her spirit is fixed on the eternal. She does not need to fight for a seat at the table because she knows God can prepare a whole table for her, even in the presence of her enemies. There are women who think that to be loved, they must chase love. That to be respected, they must lower themselves. That to be seen, they must beg to be noticed. But a woman of God knows if it is from God, she will never have to beg for it. If it is aligned with the divine will, it will come with a peace, not pressure. If it is destined, it will not require humiliation. What comes from God carries grace, not desperation. What comes from God fits your spirit, not just your emotions. So stop begging people to stay. Stop begging life to give you what it has already denied, and start trusting that what left was not meant to destroy you, but to redirect you. There are seasons in a woman's life where everything she thought she needed begins to fall apart. Friendships end, relationships die, opportunities vanish. And she stands there wondering, why is this happening to me? But what she does not realize is that God is not punishing her, He is protecting her. God is not rejecting her, He is redirecting her. Because sometimes God has to strip away everything that is distracting you so you can learn that you never needed to beg the world when you already had the favor of heaven. A woman of God understands timing. She knows that what is delayed is not denied. She knows that silence from God does not mean absence. It means preparation. When others panic in the waiting, she praises in the waiting. When others run around trying to fix everything, she stands still and lets God fight for her. She does not beg people to notice her worth because she knows that God will send the right eyes to see her when it is time. She does not beg for love because she knows that when God is ready, love will find her already whole. She does not beg for opportunities because she knows God can open one door that makes up for every door that was ever closed. A woman who trusts God is a dangerous woman. She cannot be manipulated because her heart is not controlled by approval. She cannot be broken because her strength is not built on people. She cannot be defeated because she fights her battles in prayer, not panic. You may see her quiet, but she is not weak. You may see her alone, but she is not abandoned. She knows who walks with her. She knows who defends her. And that knowledge gives her peace that the world cannot understand. Sometimes God will take a woman through isolation just to teach her not to depend on human validation. He will let people ignore her, so she learns that she does not need their applause to fulfill her destiny. He will let doors close, so she stops knocking on the wrong ones. He will let certain people betray her, not because He wants to hurt her, but because He wants her to see that not everyone deserves access to her spirit. That's when she learns begging keeps you trapped, but trusting sets you free. There's a beauty in stillness that only a woman of faith understands. When she stops chasing, she starts attracting. When she stops pleading, she starts receiving. Because the energy of trust is magnetic, it pulls divine order into her life. When she trusts God, she releases control. And in releasing control, she allows God to move freely on her behalf. She realized that begging says, I need to hold this together. But trusting says, God, you hold it all together. The moment she lets go of the need to control outcomes, she steps into divine flow. And in that flow, everything aligns. Some of you are still begging for things that are beneath your calling, begging for attention from people who don't value you, begging for love from hearts that were never meant to understand you, begging for opportunities that are too small for the destiny God placed inside you. It's time to stop begging and start believing. If you knew who you are in God's eyes, you would never chase anything again. You would realize that God never created you to run after crumbs when He has already prepared a feast for you. A woman of God walks differently. Her silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Her patience is not passivity, it is a power. Her stillness is not stagnation, it is a surrender. She doesn't need to prove her worth because she knows her worth is sealed by divine favor. When she walks into a room, her presence speaks louder than her words because she carries something sacred, the quiet confidence of a woman who trusts God fully. That is a power no man can imitate and no circumstance can break. And let me tell you this, when a woman stops begging and starts trusting, everything in her life begins to change. Her relationship changes. Her energy changes. Her decisions change. She stopped trying to please everyone because she only seeks to please God. She stops over-explaining herself because she knows that truth defends itself. She stops worrying about the future because she knows the one who holds it. Her whole being shifts from desperation to divine peace. You can feel it. When you're around her, she radiates faith. She glows differently because her light doesn't come from validation. It comes from revelation. You must understand, there is a difference between asking God and begging the world. Asking God is a sign of trust. Begging the world is a sign of fear. A woman of faith asks boldly but waits patiently. She prays deeply but moves wisely. She does not rush to make things happen. She aligns herself with the divine timing. She knows that sometimes God's not yet is His way of saying, I'm preparing something better. So she doesn't panic when things don't go as planned. She doesn't lose sleep over what's missing. She keeps her peace because she knows that peace is proof of trust. When a woman trusts God, even her tears become holy. She cries differently, not out of despair, but out of surrender. Her pain becomes her prayer. Her waiting becomes her worship. Her silence becomes her strength. She doesn't need to broadcast her struggles because she knows God sees what others don't. She understands that favor doesn't need an announcement. It reveals itself in time. That is the mystery of divine trust. You stop explaining yourself and let results speak for you. You can always recognize a woman who trusts God. She's not loud, but she's powerful. She's not bitter, but she's wise. She's not anxious, but she's alert. She carries peace like perfume. Wherever she goes, the atmosphere shifts. Because when you live in trust, you carry the fragrance of divine assurance. It's the quiet authority of someone who knows that even if everything looks wrong, God is still working it out right. She no longer begs for blessings, she becomes a magnet for them. And let me say this with the power, you don't have to chase what God has chosen for you. You don't have to convince anyone to love you, support you, or believe in you. What is yours will recognize you when it sees you. What is meant for you will not pass you by. So stop begging people to stay who were meant to live. Stop begging for acceptance in places where your spirit doesn't belong. Stop begging for opportunities that require you to shrink your light. Trust that if something left, it was not lost, it was divine redirection. God never removes something unless He's making room for something better. A woman who trusts God does not fear tomorrow. She has seen too much of His faithfulness to doubt His plan. She's been through too much to believe that this is the end of her story. She knows that her delays are not denials, her rejections are not defeats, and her loneliness is not abandonment. Everything is divine strategy. Every disappointment carries direction. Every heartbreak hides wisdom. She knows that in time, everything will make sense. So she keeps her spirit calm, her faith steady, and her eyes on God. Do you know what makes such a woman unshakable? Is that she no longer measures her worth by how others treat her. She measures her worth by what God says about her. She no longer reacts to rejection. She responds with redirection. She no longer gets offended easily. She has learned to rest in understanding. Because once you know that God is in control, you no longer fight for control. You simply flow in peace. Many of you are tired because you've been begging for things that cannot fill you. You've been begging people to love you right, to see your worth, to return your energy, and it's breaking your spirit. But God is whispering to you today, daughter, you were never meant to beg for what I can freely give. The moment you turn your eyes back to God, you realize that everything you were begging for was already inside you. Peace, strength, love, purpose. It was never lost. It was just buried beneath your worry. God is calling you to rise again, not as a beggar, but as a believer. There's a special kind of woman who can walk through fire and not smell like smoke, who can lose everything and still smile, who can cry through the night and wake up with gratitude in the morning. That is a woman who has learned the secret to trust God completely. Her strength doesn't come from the world. It comes from knowing that God is faithful. She doesn't need to beg for peace because peace lives within her. She doesn't need to beg for love because love flows through her. She doesn't need to beg for provision because provision follows her wherever she goes. When she trusts God, she becomes a living testimony of divine favor. When a woman truly begins to trust God, something shifts inside her spirit that cannot be undone. Her perception changes, her decisions change, her emotional temperature changes. She stops reacting to everything around her because she has learned that not every battle deserves her energy. She becomes selective about what deserves her response because she knows that anything not ordained by God is a distraction sent to drain her peace. She begins to live with holy restraint, not because she is weak, but because she has learned that her strength is better used in prayer than in panic. That is the quiet confidence of a woman who knows her worth is sealed by God's hand, not people's approval. There comes a point when begging becomes beneath the dignity of a woman chosen by God. It is not arrogance, it is awareness. Awareness of who she is, awareness of who God is, awareness of what divine timing means. She no longer feels the need to chase after what belongs to someone else. She no longer envies the success of others. She no longer compares her path because she knows that her journey was never meant to mirror anyone else's. She understands that God has assigned her a rhythm, a pace, and a process. She moves when He says move, waits when He says wait, and rest when He says rest. Her heart is synchronized with heaven. That is why she can endure storms and still smile, because her peace does not depend on perfect conditions. It depends on perfect trust. A woman who trusts God becomes fearless in the face of uncertainty. When others see endings, she sees beginnings. When others see lack, she sees opportunity. When others are afraid to let go, She releases without hesitation because she knows that when she lets go of what is fading, her hands become free to receive what is coming. This is not blind faith, this is a refined faith. It is the kind of faith that has been tested by disappointment, purified by pain, and strengthened by waiting. Trust is not born in comfort. It is born in surrender. A woman of faith does not beg because she has learned that God is never late. What looks delayed to her eyes is perfectly timed in God's plan. There are moments when life will test your faith so fiercely that you will be tempted to compromise your dignity. You will want to call back the one who left. You will want to chase after the opportunity that slipped away. You will want to plead for what once felt familiar. But hear this truth. If you must beg to keep it, it is not blessed. If you must sacrifice your peace to maintain it, it is not from God. Anything that requires you to lower your spiritual standard is not meant to remain. A woman who trusts God knows that rejection is redirection. She knows that closed doors are divine protection. She knows that what she loses in obedience, she will gain in favor. The world teaches women to chase attention, chase beauty, chase validation, chase success. But a woman of God knows that what you chase controls you. What you attract through alignment with God's will sustains you. The difference is peace. The woman who begs may receive something, but she will never rest in it. The woman who trusts may wait longer, but when her blessing arrives, it comes with peace that surpasses understanding. It fits her soul. It aligns with her purpose. It amplifies her light instead of dimming it. She doesn't need to manipulate outcomes because she lives under divine order. There is a sacred power in waiting silently before God. The world calls it inactivity. The Spirit calls it strength. Waiting is not weakness, it is warfare. While others rush, a woman who trusts waits strategically. She knows that patience is not just enduring time, it is aligning with the divine wisdom. She refuses to beg because she understands that begging demands from people what only God can provide. And she refuses to cheapen her value by asking humans for what heaven has already reserved for her. You see, when a woman begs, she is trying to control the narrative. But when she trusts, she allows God to write it. She stopped trying to fix what she never broke. She stopped trying to explain what only time will reveal. She stopped trying to prove her worth to those who are blind to it. She stopped trying to convince anyone to stay because she understands that loyalty cannot be purchased. It can only be inspired. And she stopped trying to make life happen faster because she knows that every divine promise carries a gestation period. There is a spiritual womb where blessings are formed. And if she tries to force them before their time, they will be premature. So she trusts the process. She prays while she waits. She worships while she works. She grows while she rests. That is the rhythm of divine womanhood. A woman who trusts God doesn't just survive seasons, she learns from them. Every delay refines her. Every disappointment strengthens her. Every heartbreak opens her eyes to deeper wisdom. She stops asking, why me? And starts saying, use me. She stops seeing pain as punishment and starts seeing it as preparation. She knows that every trial is shaping her into the woman she was destined to become. And when she finally stands on the other side of the storm, she realized that the struggle was not to break her, it was to reveal her. God was not testing her faith to humiliate her, but to elevate her. There are many women who live their lives begging for things that do not align with their purpose. They beg for love from hearts that are incapable of loving them. They beg for opportunities that require them to lose themselves. They beg for recognition in spaces that were never meant to honor them. But a woman who trusts God knows that not every gift is a blessing. Some gifts are traps in disguise. She has learned that discernment is greater than desire. She no longer prays for everything she wants. She prays for what God wants her to have, because she knows that divine will always bring divine protection. The woman who trusts God also learns the art of silence. She no longer explains her journey to people who will never understand it. She no longer defends her peace to those who thrive on chaos. She no longer seeks closure from those who were not meant to be part of her story. Her silence is not confusion, it is confidence. Confidence that God will vindicate her. Confidence that truth always outlives lies. Confidence that her destiny cannot be destroyed by human opinion. That is the stillness of a power, the peace that comes when you stop arguing and start ascending. Trusting God is not easy. It requires us surrendering the illusion of a control. It requires walking by faith when your emotions scream for evidence. It requires believing that God is working even when nothing makes sense. But a woman who has walked with God knows that His silence is not His absence. She knows that His no is open protection, and His delay is open direction. That is why she can face uncertainty with grace. Her heart may tremble, but her faith does not falter. She walks through darkness as if she already sees the light, because deep inside she knows God never fails the one who waits on Him. Sometimes trusting God means standing alone. It means being misunderstood. It means losing people who cannot walk at your pace. But that solitude is not a curse, it is sanctification. God isolates before He elevates. He hides before He honors. He teaches before He reveals. So when life feels silent, when your prayers seem unanswered, when you feel forgotten, remember this: God is not ignoring you. He is preparing you. Preparation is painful because it purifies. Trust requires purification of the heart, removing fear, ego, and doubt until all that remains is faith. The woman who trusts God glows differently. Her beauty does not come from appearance. It comes from alignment. Her confidence is not arrogance. It is awareness of divine favor. Her strength is not loud. It is steady. She moves with purpose because she is guided by wisdom, not impulse. She does not beg for validation because she has tasted peace, and peace is addictive. Once you experience the peace that comes from trusting God, you will never again settle for the chaos of chasing people. And that is where true power begins. A woman who trusts God cannot be controlled. She cannot be manipulated by fear because her faith is greater than her feelings. She cannot be deceived by appearances because she sees through the eyes of discernment. She cannot be intimidated by laws because she knows that what is taken from her was never meant to remain. Her power lies not in resistance, but in surrender. She surrenders her will to God, and in doing so, she becomes unstoppable. When you trust God, you begin to realize that the things you once begged for no longer move you. You stop craving what does not align with your peace. You stop chasing temporary satisfaction. You stop needing constant reassurance because you are full of faith, full of purpose, full of divine contentment. Begging comes from emptiness. Trusting comes from fullness. When you live in fullness, you no longer approach life with a desperation. You approach it with a gratitude. Every sunrise becomes a reminder that God is still faithful. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to witness His power again. A woman who trusts God is not easily shaken by the opinions of others. She knows that critics are proof of progress. She knows that gossip is confirmation that she is being elevated. She does not fight rumors. She lets her results speak. She does not respond to mockery. She lets time vindicate her. Her spirit is too focused to be distracted, too wise to be provoked, too secure to be offended. This maturity is not learned in comfort. It is learned in communion with God. When you spend time with God, you begin to reflect His calm. You begin to move with quiet authority because you realize that the power that sustains you does not come from outside. It flows from within. And when such a woman speaks, her words carry weight because her tongue is guided by wisdom, not emotion. She speaks peace, and peace follows. She speaks truth, and darkness flees. She speaks life, and things begin to bloom again. This is what happens when a woman stops begging for outcomes and starts trusting the one who creates outcomes. She becomes a vessel of divine expression. Her life becomes a message. Her presence becomes a prayer. Her actions become a reflection of divine order. Let it be known, a woman of God who trusts is unshakable. She may cry, but she rises. She may stumble, but she stands again. She may lose, but she never quits. Because her faith is not built on feelings, it is built on foundation. And that foundation is God, unchanging, eternal, and faithful. There are moments in a woman's journey when trusting God will not feel easy, nor will it feel fair. There will be nights when our prayers echo in silence and mornings when our strength feels thin. Yet this is where faith matures, not when everything is clear, but when she chooses to walk through the fog, believing that God still sees. A woman who trusts God does not need every answer. She does not demand explanation. She understands that some things are hidden, not to punish her, but to preserve her. Some seasons are dark, not to frighten her, but to fortify her. When she cannot trace God's hand, she still trusts His wisdom. Trust is not built in the light. It is forged in the dark. It is in those unseen places where God tests what she truly believes. When the comfort disappears and the applause fades, will she still whisper, "I know you are good"? When nothing moves, will she still move in obedience? When her plans crumble, will she still believe in purpose? That is the measure of a true woman of faith. She does not beg God to remove her storm. She asks for the strength to stand through them because she knows that the storms are not signs of abandonment, but instruments of refinement. Every trial is a classroom where she learns the language of divine trust. When she trusts God, she begins to see beyond the surface. She understands that life is not random, it is orchestrated. Every encounter, every delay, every detour is part of a divine composition. What looks like chaos to her eyes is often perfect design in God's sight. She no longer complains about what left her. She blesses it because she realizes that if God allowed it to end, it was necessary for her growth. Sometimes God will remove people not because they are evil, but because they cannot travel to the next level with you. Sometimes He will close doors not because you failed, but because you succeeded in what that door was meant to teach you. The woman who trusts God stops questioning every ending. She starts thanking Him for new beginnings disguised as loss. Trust gives her freedom from fear. Fear is the currency of the world, but faith is the currency of heaven. Fear makes you beg. Faith makes you rest. When fear governs you, you live in panic, always thinking you will miss your moment. But when faith governs you, you understand that your moment cannot miss you. You stop running after opportunities and start preparing for them. You stop chasing people and start becoming the version of yourself that God can bless. Because when your heart is aligned, blessings are magnetized to you. They come not because you beg, but because you are ready. A woman who trusts God carries herself differently. She moves with grace even when misunderstood. She speaks with calm even when provoked. Her presence carries peace because she has been with God in secret places. Her confidence does not come from perfection, but from presence, the presence of God that surrounds her wherever she goes. She does not need to shout to be heard. Her spirit already speaks. She does not need to prove her power. Her silence already declares it. Because the woman who has surrendered everything to God has nothing left to fear. There are many who will not understand this kind of peace. They will think she is careless because she doesn't panic. They will think she is detached because she doesn't chase. But what they don't see is that her peace was purchased through surrender. It is not laziness, it is trust. She has wrestled with worry long enough to know that it only drains her. She has begged long enough to know that it brings humiliation but not results. She has tried controlling outcomes long enough to know that control is an illusion. So now she chooses higher way, the way of trust. Trust that says, I don't need to know what happened next. I just need to know that God is in it. When a woman trusts God, she starts walking in divine rhythm. She no longer forces connections or manipulates timelines. She understands that rushing is the language of anxiety, while resting is the language of faith. She refuses to hurry God. She knows that anything forced by fear will crumble, but anything built on faith will last. She is patient, not because waiting is easy, but because she knows who she is waiting on. She knows that God's timing is not just perfect, it is protective. If it hasn't happened yet, it is because He is still shaping her, preparing her, or shielding her from something that would have harmed her spirit. Sometimes the greatest act of trust is to do nothing, to stop striving, to stop explaining, to stop fixing, and to let God move. The woman of God learned that rest is a form of worship. Stillness is not passivity, it is confidence. It is saying, I have done my part, now I trust God to do His. This posture of surrender brings miracles because it removes interference. When you stop touching what only God can handle, divine order begins to flow. This is why the woman who trusts God seems to experience sudden breakthroughs. It is not that her prayers were louder, it's that her faith was quieter, steady, sure, unshaken. Trust transformed the way she sees herself. No longer does she identify by what she lost. No longer does she define herself by who left. No longer does she shrink to fit in places too small for her destiny. She realized that her value was never up for debate. Begging once made her forget her worth, but trusting has restored it. Now she knows she was never meant to beg for love because she is love when she is aligned with God. She was never meant to beg for peace because peace is her birthright. She was never meant to beg for purpose because her very existence is proof that she was created with intention. A woman who trusts God stops asking, who will help me? And starts saying, God is helping me. She stops saying, what if it doesn't happen? And starts saying, it will happen if it's meant to. She stops saying, I don't have enough, and starts saying, God is my source. This shift in language is a shift in power, because words spoken in faith carry authority. When she aligns her tongue with the divine truth, her entire environment begins to respond. Her home, her relationship, her career, her body, everything starts to reflect her trust. Because faith is not just something you feel, it is something you speak, live, and embody. Every woman who trusts God carries a testimony. She can look back at the time she thought she wouldn't survive and smile, because she sees now that even in her breaking, God was building. He was pruning away what could not prosper in her next season. He was teaching her the difference between needing and trusting. Needing says, I can't live without it. Trusting says, I will live better when God decides what I truly need. She realized that something she begged for would have broken her. Some people she prayed to keep would have destroyed her peace. Now she thanks God for unanswered prayers, because she understands that unanswered prayers are often answered in a higher form, protection. And when this understanding matures inside her, she becomes unrecognizable. She no longer carries desperation, she carries discernment. She no longer pleads, she prophesies. She no longer collapses under pressure, she stands firm. Her faith no longer wavers with her circumstances, because it is rooted in revelation. She knows that God's plan for her life is not fragile, it is fixed. No gossip can ruin it. No delay can destroy it. No failure can cancel it. Her trust becomes her armor. Her faith becomes her shield. Her peace becomes her power. To the woman who is tired of waiting, hear this truth. God has not forgotten you. Every unseen moment, every silent tear, every faithful prayer has been recorded. The delay you see is not neglect, it is divine sequencing. God is aligning people, places, and timing. What you think is slow is actually strategic. And when it finally happens, it will not come piece by piece. It will come suddenly, completely, beautifully, because God does not deliver fragments. He delivers fulfillment. Keep trusting, keep believing, keep standing, because at the exact moment you are about to give up, God is preparing your breakthrough. When a woman walks in this level of trust, she becomes a light to others. Her peace becomes contagious. Her faith becomes a mirror for others to see what is possible. People begin to ask her, how are you so calm? And she smiles because she knows calm is the natural byproduct of complete trust. She has built her life on the unshakable foundation of God's faithfulness. And because of that, nothing external can destroy her internal stability. She has learned that begging might move people, but trusting moves heaven. And once heaven moves, nothing on earth can resist. A woman who trusts God lives with expectancy, not anxiety. She wakes up knowing that something good is always being prepared for her. She no longer worries about who left her life or what didn't work out. She wakes up each morning saying, God, I trust you today. That one sentence becomes her anchor. It steadies her emotions. It silences her fears. It aligns her thoughts. She begins her day with faith and ends it with gratitude. And slowly she realizes that this peace, this calm, this strength is what she had been searching for all along. Not another person, not another opportunity, but the deep security of knowing that her life is held firmly in God's hand. And so she no longer begs the world to see her. She let her light speak. She no longer begs to be chosen. She knows she already is. She no longer begs for validation. She knows her worth was settled before the foundation of the earth. She is a woman who walks by faith, led by peace, and sustained by trust. A woman who knows that her greatest weapon is not her tears, it is her surrender. And a woman like that cannot be defeated. Listen closely, for this message is not an accident. Something in the unseen has been stirring. Angels have been moving with urgency. They are alerting, whispering, warning about your eyes. Yes, your eyes. For your eyes are not merely windows to the world. They are the gates of your spirit. They are the lenses through which your soul perceives reality, the portals through which either light or darkness may enter. The angels of God are watching how humanity uses its eyes, and they are alarmed. They are sending signals, they are crying out. Because what you allow your eyes to behold determines what your heart becomes. You must understand that in the realm of the spirit, sight is sacred. The first thing God gives to a chosen soul is vision, not physical, but divine sight. And the first thing the enemy tries to corrupt is that very sight. When angels speak of your eyes, they are not merely referring to the flesh that blinks and gazes. They speak of your focus, your attention, your perception, your discernment. For wherever your eyes go, your soul follows. And if your eyes become dim with worldly distractions, your spirit will lose direction. There is a divine urgency in this hour. The angels are alerting because humanity is being blinded by images that steal holiness, by screens that feed corruption, by sights that numb the conscience. They are seeing how eyes that were meant to behold the beauty of creation have become addicted to vanity, to comparison, to lust, to deceit. They are seeing how many have exchanged divine vision for the illusions of men. And the angels are sending messages, stirring the hearts of those who still listen to God, saying, guard your eyes, for they determine the purity of your spirit. When God formed you, He placed within you not only the ability to see, but the responsibility to choose what to see. He gave you dominion not only over the earth, but over your own attention. What you behold, you become. If your eyes are fixed on fear, fear will grow. If your eyes are fixed on temptation, temptation will conquer. But if your eyes are fixed on God, light will flood your being, peace will guard your mind, and wisdom will guide your steps. Angels are alerting about your eyes because your destiny depends on what you focus on. Some of you have lost your divine assignments not because you are not anointed, not because you are not chosen, but because your eyes wandered from purpose to distraction. You were called to gaze upon the promise, but you kept staring at the pain. You were meant to fix your vision on divine direction, but you became fascinated by worldly noise. God says today, lift up your eyes again, for the angels have seen that you are being pulled away from what truly matters. They are blowing the trumpet in the spirit, calling you to awaken your vision again. When your eyes become contaminated, your discernment weakens. you stop seeing what God sees. You begin to misjudge people, misunderstand season, misinterpret signs. The eyes of your spirit start to blur, and what was once clear becomes confusing. The angels are alerting because many have traded divine sight for digital sight. They spend hours staring into the glow of screens, but minutes gazing into the presence of God. Their eyes are being trained to see everything but truth. But today, heaven is speaking, cleanse your vision. There is power in the gaze of a person who sees through the lens of God. When you see life through divine eyes, storms no longer scare you. When you see through divine eyes, even delay becomes preparation. Angels are assigned to those who look toward light, but they cannot walk with those who insist on staring into darkness. You cannot pray for divine protection and yet open your eyes to corruption every day. You cannot ask for spiritual strength while your vision is filled with filth. Your eyes must align with your faith. The angels are alerting because sight controls destiny. When you start to look at what God wants you to see, everything begins to shift. Even your atmosphere changes. The angels are urging you to protect your gaze because the enemy knows if he can corrupt your eyes, he can capture your heart. He knows if he can distract your vision, he can derail your calling. He knows if he can keep you staring at what wounds you, you'll never move toward what heals you. There are two kinds of sight, natural and divine. Natural sight sees what is visible. Divine sight sees what is eternal. Natural sight sees obstacles. Divine sight sees opportunities. Natural sight is swayed by appearances. Divine sight is rooted in truth. The angels are alerting you because you have been looking too long through the lens of the natural. You are seeing failure where God sees preparation, rejection where God sees redirection, endings where God sees beginnings. Heaven is saying, change your vision before your vision changes you. When your spiritual eyes awaken, you start to discern what others overlook. You begin to notice how God moves subtly through the ordinary. You start to see warning signs before disaster strikes. Angels are positioned around those who keep their eyes aligned with God's purpose. They will whisper to your spirit, look away from that. Turn here, wait there. But if your attention is consumed by the noise of the world, you will not hear their alerts. Your eyes were designed to recognize divine timing. When you fix your eyes on God, you start to sense when to move, when to pause, when to speak, when to stay silent. But when your gaze is clouded by anxiety and desire, you act outside of alignment. That is why angels are alerting now to bring you back to focus. They are guarding the chosen who are about to step into new seasons, but who risk losing direction because of what they keep watching. Some of you are wondering why your peace has faded. It is not because God has left you, but because your eyes have wandered. You are feeding your spirit the wrong images. You are absorbing energies that suffocate faith. You cannot expect tranquility while consuming chaos. The angels see it. They know what constant exposure to negativity does to the soul. They are stirring the sensitive hearts to fast not only from food but from harmful visuals, from toxic comparisons, from the endless scroll of vanity that darkens discernment. Every time you open your eyes, you are either building faith or draining it. Every glance has spiritual weight. That is why God watches not just what you do, but what you look at. Your gaze reveals your hunger. What you stare at the longest becomes your master. Angels are alerting because too many have become enslaved to what they see rather than empowered by what they believe. They look at others' lives and feel less. They look at past pain and lose hope. They look at the glitter of the world and forget the glory of God. But there is still hope. God is calling you to purify your sight, to restore your divine focus. When your eyes become sanctified, your whole life changes. Light floods your mind, peace returns, power awakens. You start seeing beyond appearances into purpose. You begin to notice that every delay was a design, every detour a direction, every disappointment a divine setup. You see the invisible hand of God orchestrating even the moments that seemed meaningless. Angels are alerting because your vision determines your vibration. What you focus on expands. If you fix your eyes on what is missing, you will live in lack. If you fix your eyes on what God has promised, you will live in abundance. Heaven responds to focus. The realm of the Spirit moves when a soul looks steadfastly toward divine truth. Angels rush to assist those whose eyes are aligned with God's light. Do not allow the enemy to use your eyes as instruments of destruction. He wants you to look back like Lot's wife, to gaze at what God has already delivered you from. He wants you to keep replaying the past so that you never step into the future. But God is saying, lift your eyes from the ashes. I am building something new. The angels are ready to lead you forward, but your focus must change. Stop watching who left. Stop watching who betrayed you. Stop watching who seems ahead. Fix your gaze on the divine timeline. Some of you are tired because your eyes are exhausted. You are seeing too much of the world and too little of God. Your mind is overstimulated. Your spirit undernourished. The angels are calling you to rest your eyes upon the stillness of faith. They are calling you to meditate on what uplifts, to fill your vision with light. For in stillness, clarity returns. When you withdraw your eyes from chaos, you begin to see what was always there, divine order. God uses your eyes to reveal His will. Sometimes He will close one door so your eyes will notice another. Sometimes He will allow darkness so your inner sight may strengthen. Angels are alerting because the next move of God requires sharper vision. You cannot enter the new season with blurred discernment. You must see clearly, see who belongs in your circle, see which path leads to peace, see which opportunity carries divine favor. Do not despise the moments when God blinds you temporarily. When He hides certain things from your view, it is to protect you from premature exposure. When you cannot see the full picture, trust that the angels are arranging it. They guard not only your path, but also your perception. Sometimes divine blindness is divine mercy. For what you cannot yet handle, God conceals until your spirit matures. Angels are alerting about your eyes because sight creates atmosphere. What you allow yourself to behold determines the spiritual climate around you. A person who gazes constantly at negativity invites darkness into their dwelling. But one whose eyes remain on God radiates serenity that even chaos cannot invade. Your eyes are spiritual thermostats. They regulate the temperature of your environment. When you look at light, light fills your space. When you look at despair, despair settles in. Choose wisely what you see. God is raising a generation whose eyes will no longer be seduced by illusion, a people whose sight will pierce through deception. The angels are working now to awaken seers, men and women, who will not only look but perceive. For perception is the power to interpret what you see. Many look but few perceive. The angels are saying, You have looked enough. Now learn to perceive. When your perception changes, your reality changes, you stop calling every delay a curse and begin to call it alignment. You stop seeing rejection as punishment and start seeing it as redirection. You stop staring at the closed door and start noticing the open window. Angels are attracted to gratitude. They move with the speed toward those whose eyes remain thankful even in trial. Your eyes were not created to dwell on darkness. Every time you stare too long at pain, it multiplies. Every time you replay betrayal, it deepens. The angels are alerting because your healing begins when you redirect your gaze. Look at how far God has already brought you. Look at the subtle ways He has protected you when you didn't even know it. Look at the strengths that survived every storm. There are miracles in your memories if you look with a divine sight. Some of you have been praying for guidance, but guidance begins with the focus. Angels guide the eyes of those who are still enough to see the signs. But if your gaze is always restless, if you are looking at everything except what God is showing, you will miss the cues. Slow down. Watch how God speaks through patterns, through people, through silence. Watch how He reveals direction, not in chaos, but in calm. There is a sacred discipline in training your eyes to refuse to look at what corrupts, to withdraw from what tempts, to choose light even when darkness seduces. Angels celebrate those who guard their eyes, for every act of restraint increases spiritual power. Every time you turn your eyes from sin, you strengthen your authority. Every time you choose purity over pleasure, you expand your influence in the unseen. Your eyes are the gatekeepers of your destiny. The angels know this, and that is why they are alerting. They know that a single glance can plant a seed of doubt, of desire, of destruction. But the same eyes that can open a door to evil can also unlock divine revelation. What you decide to look at will either imprison you or empower you. When your eyes align with God's will, even your enemies cannot deceive you. You will discern motives before they manifest. You will see traps before you fall. You will perceive counterfeit blessing before you accept them. This is divine sight, and the angels are ready to activate it. But first, you must surrender your focus to God. Do not let the world steal your gaze. Guard it as sacred treasure. Let your eyes dwell on what uplifts, on what strengthens faith. Every time you fix your eyes on hope instead of fear, you honor the God who created you to see beyond appearances. Every time you look for divine fingerprints in your circumstances, the angels rejoice, for you are seeing with the eyes of the Spirit. Your eyes are instruments of prophecy. They reveal where your life is heading. Look long enough at failure, and failure will frame your path. Look long enough at divine promise, and the universe will align to fulfill it. Angels respond to focus the way seeds respond to water. They move toward what you meditate upon. The angels are alerting because time is short. The world is filling the eyes of humanity with deception images that glorify sin, glorify chaos, glorify pride. They know that if they can blind the masses, they can control their hearts. But those who keep their eyes on God will remain untouched. They will see truth where others see confusion. They will see light even in darkness. Do not wait for a crisis to correct your focus. Begin now, each day. Ask yourself, what have my eyes been feeding my soul? Have they looked upon peace or upon noise, upon gratitude or upon envy, upon creation or corruption? Your spiritual diet is determined by your vision. You become what you behold. The angels are moving with intensity now. They are touching the eyes of those who are ready to see differently. Some of you will begin to notice signs you overlooked. Patterns will appear. Insights will emerge. You will feel guided not by sight alone, but by perception. For when the eyes of your spirit awaken, even the ordinary become prophetic. God is preparing you for higher dimensions of clarity. But with greater sight comes greater responsibility. When your vision expands, you must protect it fiercely. You must avoid anything that dulls discernment. Do not entertain gossip, for it clouds perception. Do not indulge jealousy, for it distorts vision. Do not feed fear, for it blinds the spirit. Keep your eyes clear, and your purpose will stay pure. Angels are alerting about your eyes because they know what God is about to show you. New revelations are coming, hidden truths are about to unfold, but they cannot be received through cloudy vision. The clearer your eyes, the deeper your insight, the purer your focus, the louder heaven speaks. You are being prepared to see differently, not with anxiety, but with assurance, not with confusion, but with conviction. The angels are aligning your perspective so you may perceive opportunities disguised as obstacles, blessings hidden in battles, and divine timing concealed within delay. Guard your eyes, for they are sacred instruments of destiny. Keep them lifted toward the light of God, and you will never stumble in darkness. The angels are watching, guiding, protecting. They are alerting, reminding, awakening you to this truth. Your eyes are not mere organs. They are gateways to glory. There comes a moment in every life when God demands that your vision evolve. The angels are stirring your awareness right now, for they know the season has shifted. You cannot walk into what is coming with yesterday's sight. You cannot carry yesterday's vision into tomorrow's divine assignments. The eyes of your spirit must be renewed. They must be sharpened, purified, and aligned with heaven's clarity. For when your sight matures, your destiny accelerates. Angels are not calling your attention to your eyes just for protection. They are calling for transformation. Because once your perception changes, your whole world rearranges. Many people are praying for miracles while their eyes are closed to the signs God has already sent. They ask for confirmation, but they ignore revelation. They cry for direction, but they refuse correction. The angels are alerting because the answer you seek is already visible. If only you would see through the lens of the Spirit. The problem is not absence of light, but blindness of heart. God's guidance surrounds you, but you must learn to recognize it. The same way the sun is always shining even when clouds hide it, divine guidance is always near even when confusion covers your sight. Your task is not to create the vision, it is to clear it. God is refining your eyes because He is preparing you to see beyond appearance. Too long have you judged by surface impressions, by what looks good, what feels easy, what seems promising. But heaven's perspective pierces through illusion. The angels are teaching you to see the invisible truths beneath visible chaos. They are teaching you to discern intentions, not just actions, to perceive divine meaning, not just the external movement. For appearances can deceive, but divine perception never lies. When your eyes become instruments of truth, deception loses its power over you. Manipulators cannot confuse you. Opportunities cannot seduce you. Fear cannot paralyze you. You become a person of divine stability, unmoved by appearances, guided by truth. That is why God must purify your sight, because the next phase of your purpose requires precision. You cannot afford to mistake distraction for destiny or temptation for opportunity. The angels are whispering, see with clarity, move with certainty, act with discernment. Your eyes are holy territory. Guard them with reverence. Every image you allow to linger before your gaze plants a seed in your soul. Seeds of despair or hope, purity or pollution, strength or weakness. The angels are alerting because too many are planting weeds through the gate of their eyes. They watch what drains them and then wonder why they feel empty. They stare at what wounds them and wonder why they hurt. But when your eyes are fixed on God, every glance becomes prayer. Every look becomes an act of worship. Every vision becomes a prophecy of peace. The world will try to steal your attention because attention is the currency of the Spirit. What you give your eyes to, you give your energy to. If you look constantly at what others have, envy will infect your heart. If you stare at your failures, shame will weaken your courage. But if you fix your gaze upon God's greatness, faith will rise like a flood within you. You will walk in calm authority because your focus will no longer shift with the circumstance. The angels are revealing that spiritual warfare often begins with the vision. Darkness does not first attack your body, it attacks your focus. The enemy aims to distort what you see so you will misjudge what God is doing. He wants you to call delay defeat, to call correction punishment, to call redirection rejection. But heaven declares what you call loss, God calls alignment. Open your eyes and see the divine pattern hidden within the pain. When you look at your challenges through the lens of faith, they lose their power to break you. The angels surround those who see through purpose. They whisper courage to the one who can look at chaos and still declare God is in control. That declaration is not blindness, it is higher sight. It is refusing to let the shadows define the truth. It is seeing through the darkness and finding light that never fades. The angels are alerting because many of God's chosen are being distracted by visual noise, images of comparison, lifestyles of vanity, illusions of success. But God measures success by obedience, not appearance. The angels are repositioning your focus so that your eyes may return to simplicity, to what is eternal, to what truly fulfills. For what your eyes admire, your heart eventually imitates. Choose carefully what you gaze upon, for it will shape the atmosphere of your soul. God is calling you to lift your eyes from the temporary and behold the eternal, to stop being mesmerized by what glitters and start being grounded in what glows from within. The angels are urging you to gaze upon what strengthens the spirit, acts of kindness, moments of gratitude, the quiet beauty of faithfulness. When your eyes are trained on goodness, your life begins to radiate it. There is a sacred moment when the eyes of your understanding open and you realize that nothing is wasted. Even the tears you once cried become light refracted through divine wisdom. The angels are celebrating that awakening, for it marks the rise of a mature soul, one who no longer looks through wounds but through wisdom. Your eyes are being healed to see purpose where you once saw pain. You are being elevated from sight to insight, from looking to knowing. When God begins to anoint your vision, you start to see life differently. You recognize divine fingerprints in coincidences. You perceive hidden lessons in trials. You sense divine timing in delays. The angels assist in this transformation. helping you interpret the language of signs. They open your perception to the sacred rhythm of life. You stop rushing and start trusting. You stop forcing and start flowing. For now you see that everything that comes before your eyes has meaning. When viewed through the lens of faith, the angels are alerting about your eyes because clarity is your compass. Without clarity, even the strong become weary. Confusion drains energy faster than failure. But when you see clearly, when you know what is from God and what is not, peace returns. The mind quiets. Decisions become easier. Faith becomes natural. God never intended for your life to be guided by guesswork. He intended it to be guided by clear vision. That is why your sight must remain pure. Many people fall not because they are weak, but because they see wrongly. They mistake counterfeit blessings for divine gifts, illusions for miracles, distractions for destiny. But when your eyes are tuned to God's wavelength, you will discern immediately when something is not from Him. You will feel the dissonance in your spirit. You will know by peace or by unease whether something carries divine approval. This is not superstition. It is a spiritual sensitivity. The angels nurture this gift in those who are willing to remain pure in sight. When your eyes are holy, your path becomes luminous. When your perception aligns with the truth, every step glows with a divine assurance. Angels walk beside those whose eyes stay on the light because they know such souls will not be led astray. There is no darkness that can dominate a person who refuses to look away from God. You can be surrounded by chaos, but still see calm. You can be surrounded by decay, but still perceive renewal. Such is the power of enlightened vision. The angels are saying, your eyes are instruments of faith. They are not given merely to observe, but to activate. What you see inwardly creates what you experience outwardly. When you hold the image of peace within, even turmoil bends before you. When you envision abundance through faith, opportunities begin to align. When you perceive yourself through the eyes of God, insecurity dissolves. That is why the enemy fights to destroy your vision, because what you can no longer imagine, you can no longer manifest. Your eyes are sacred screens upon which divine images are projected. When you meditate on divine truths, those images take root and shape your destiny. Angels respond to such focus. They move according to vision. They carry out the intentions that match divine alignment. So when your eyes are fixed on what is holy, all of heaven collaborates to fulfill it. Guarding your eyes is not about fear, it is about focus. It is not about withdrawal, but about direction. You are called to look with a purpose, to see beyond temptation, beyond illusion, beyond limitation. The angels are guiding you toward mastery of your gaze, for he who controls his eyes controls his life. God will sometimes allow you to see what others cannot, not to boast, but to build. The angels may show you glimpses of your future, not so that you rush, but so that you prepare. When God grants vision, He also grants responsibility. The eyes that see deeply must also bear patiently. The angels stand near those who can hold the sight without pride, who can perceive greatness without arrogance. Be vigilant, for not every vision comes from light. There are deceptive images that mimic divine impressions. The angels are your allies in discernment. They whisper truths when falsehood try to masquerade as revelation. But they only speak clearly to hearts that stay humble. Humility polishes perception. pride blinds it. The clearer your heart, the clearer your sight. God is calling you to be a steward of sight, to use your eyes as vessels of compassion, as mirrors of faith, as tools of service. Let your eyes see need and respond with generosity. Let them see suffering and respond with empathy. Let them see goodness and magnify. For when you see with love, you mirror the nature of God Himself, forever aware, ever merciful, ever guiding creation toward the light. The angels are alerting you not just to protect your eyes from harm, but to awaken their holy purpose. Your eyes were made to recognize divinity in the ordinary, to find God's beauty in the small, His presence in the unnoticed. Each sunrise, each act of kindness, each moment of stillness is a divine painting for those who truly see. The blind stare but never perceive. The awakened look and understand. The highest form of vision is not to see what others cannot, but to see what others ignore. To look at the same world but behold deeper truth. The angels rejoice when your eyes reach that level of maturity, because then you become an instrument of peace. You start to reflect God's perspective on us to bring harmony where there was division, faith where there was fear, hope where there was despair. Remember this, the eyes are the architects of destiny. What you constantly gaze upon, you build toward. The angels are alerting because God is ready to construct something new in your life, but He cannot build it with an old vision. You must see differently to live differently. Your future is waiting at the edge of your perception. The moment you choose to see with faith rather than fear, creation begins to respond. Lift your gaze. See how the heavens declare the glory of God. See how every storm ends in light. See how every loss carries the seed of wisdom. The angels stand beside you, inviting you to open the eyes of your heart and perceive reality as God perceives it, filled with meaning, guided by purpose, sustained by divine love. The angels are alerting about your eyes because sight is sacred, protected, purified, elevated, and above all, use it to see the fingerprints of God everywhere you look. For when you finally behold the world through divine vision, you will realize nothing has been ordinary, nothing has been random, nothing has been wasted. Every sight, every season, every shadow was a step toward awakening the eyes of your soul. So now, beloved soul, hear this final word deep. Within your spirit, the angels are not just alerting you, they are awakening you. They are calling you to rise into a new level of awareness, a sacred depth of seeing. For your eyes were never meant to drift aimlessly through the illusions of this world. They were created to behold divine truth. God is commanding your vision to return to purity, to power, to purpose. You have looked long enough at what hurts you. Now it is time to look at what heals you. You have focused long enough on what ended. Now fix your eyes on what is beginning. The eyes of your soul are gateways to destiny. Guard them as you would guard treasure. Let nothing enter that diminishes your peace, and nothing distract you from your path. When your eyes stay on God, no shadow can overpower you, no lie can deceive you, and no fear can dominate you. The angels are surrounding you, whispering with urgency. See through faith, not fear. See through light, not darkness. See through truth, not illusion. For when your sight aligns with God, everything around you begins to align with grace. You start walking not by guesswork, but by revelation. You discern the invisible guidance woven through every delay, every disappointment, every detour. The world may see confusion, but you will see divine orchestration. The world may see endings, but you will see preparation. So lift up your eyes today. Let them rise above distraction, above pain, above appearances. Let them rest upon the majesty of God, the one who never sleeps, the one who guides you, the one who directs every step with purpose. The angels are already in motion, carrying light to those who dare to see differently. This is your moment to reclaim your vision. See yourself as God sees you, capable, chosen, surrounded by divine help. See your path not as chaos, but as construction. See your future not as uncertain, but as unfolding. See your trials not as punishment, but as preparation. For when you train your eyes to see with faith, you no longer stumble in darkness. You walk with quiet authority, guided by unseen hand. The angels go before you. The presence of God surrounds you. And your eyes now awaken, sanctify, and focused become the vessels through which light floods every part of your life. So let it be that from this moment forward, your gaze no longer wanders. Let your sight become sacred, your focus become firm, and your vision become victorious. For the angels have sounded their call, and God Himself is watching to see what your eyes will behold next. May they find only light,